Okay. So welcome everyone to Yoga Therapy Sunday morning. We've had a week off and we're back working with the lower back. The last time we worked a lot on side bends. We'll do a few of those because I know those help a bunch of you in the room. But we're going to move into rotation and more rotation of the lower body in particular. And getting into the lower back. So hands at the heart, if that's comfortable. I'm going to do an opening chant to Patanjali, who's the mythical compiler of the Yoga Sutras. He was actually a person, we believe, from historians. Yogena chittasya padena vacha malam sharirasya chalajakena yopakarotam pravaram munina patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram Shankha-chakra-siddharinam sahasra-shirasam shvetam pranamami patanjalim Shrimate Anandaya Nagarajaya Namo Namaha. When you're ready, inhale, bringing your arms up to the sides, radiating like the sun. And exhale, sides as well. And then inhale to the front. And exhale down the front. Just feel the difference energetically and physically. The arms going to the sides is a bit more upper back, neck, and shoulders, perhaps, for you. And the inhale, exhale up the fronts is a little bit more lower back. So just feel the difference between those two parts of the spine. Do this in your own timing. You can add the bend of the knees as you exhale, especially for those of you with any arthritis in the knees or alignment in the knee issues. That can be helpful. For neck and shoulders, you can also, as you exhale, look down in order to floss the neck up and down, and you can add a little bit of a back arch. We're going to be doing back arches today as well as rotated twists. Just in your own timing, Ujjayi pranayama, constricting the throat. Exhaling from the pelvic floor up to the belly button. Inhaling, if you can, chest to belly or just expanding the belly. Just notice how that exhale is a bit more introverted. You're feeling inside your body, mind this morning. And when you inhale, perhaps you feel a bit more extroverted. Energy going out into the world. Inhale, bringing in something new. And exhale, letting go of something old. Inhale, feeling the sky, the sun, the stars, the moon. Exhale, feeling the earth, the roots, the plants, the water. Keep this going in your own timing. You can add count, inhale 4 to 6 seconds, pause, exhale the same. Then it becomes pranayama, a moving pranayama. And this could be a practice that you do every morning, just this. And just a note, some people don't like to look up and down. It bothers their neck. So you can always keep your head very neutral and keep your chin in. And just finishing up. We're going to perhaps bring our feet together to see how that feels. Maybe you put a block between your thighs. We haven't done this in a while, or a pillow or a physio ball can also work nicely. Just feel the difference in the stability of your legs when you add something there. And then we're going to inhale coming up, perhaps on our toes, just see how that feels for you. And exhale coming down, and we'll see if we can keep the arms in that same pattern, up, side, down, side, inhale, up, front, exhale, down, front. If the balance is too much, you can let go of the front movement. I just experienced that myself, so it's a little harder. Hugging into the center of the thighs with a block or without can really help your balance. And just finishing your last round, side and front. Great warm up for the legs, for the feet. And this is used for concentration. And just rest in Sūtra-s II, feet apart or together. Feet are together, perhaps, and with that block between the legs, perhaps hugging into the center, finding your root, your foundation. And when you do that, when you create that pelvic stability, hugging in, if you do have lower back pain, do you notice that it kind of eases off a bit with that stability? Just notice that, and just stand here. If it's not comfortable, you can bend your knees at any time and then pull back up. Sūtra-s II, even standing pose. Just resting here. Notice where your weight is. Is it front? Is it back? Is it on one foot more than the other? And throughout the class, notice when we come back to this neutral position, notice how that changes. And just finishing off. So really worked the legs a lot. We're going to move a bit more into the lower back. So I want to start just warming up with back arches through Virabhadrasana warrior. And you can use the chair or blocks for your forebend if you like. You can also put one heel at the wall. So I'm going to start with my right heel back and my left foot stepping forward if you happen to have that available. And turning your right foot out to comfort, about heel to heel alignment or heel to arch alignment. And then you're going to inhale, you're going to bend your front knee and just play with the length of your stride. Inhale, arms coming up, and your back leg, if you have tight calves, you will feel that a bit more. You can turn your foot out more, just that. Inhale, arms up. Exhale down. Now let's try, if you have room, inhale, arms to the side. Exhale, arms coming down. I don't know if you can see that eagle flying by. There's an eagle joining us for class. Inhale, arms coming up the front. Exhale, release. Just feel that difference in your body, and you might prefer one over the other. For those of you with shoulder issues, you might prefer one of these and just pick one. Or if both feel good, do both. And focus a bit more on the breath movement coordination. Maybe slow it down a bit. Lengthen that pause between inhale and exhale. And just finishing up your last round. If it's comfortable, you can step back, find your Samastiti at the wall. I think you can see me. Turn one foot out, your left foot out, right foot stepping forward. You might be able to get a little bit more of a stride. The foot at the wall just helps with the alignment of the hips. So we worked on the hips for a number of weeks as well. And we want to bring that also into the lower back, of course. So you're going to inhale, arms up, side, bending the front knee over the second toe. Exhale, straightening the leg, arms coming down. And then inhale, arms up front, bending the knee over second toe. And exhale, release. This round, if you like, add a hold after inhale of 2 to 3 seconds. You don't have to bring your hands together on that inhale. You could interlock your fingers at the top as well. Just keep this going your own timing. We're going to do around 6 rounds. Do 2 more rounds. You're finished, come to Samastiti, even standing pose, feet together. And last time. Stepping back if you can, finding your Samastiti, feet together apart, and just observe how you feel. You're probably feeling one leg a bit more than the other right now. So notice which one it is. Perhaps it was the leg that was forward, or maybe even the leg that was back. Maybe you feel both the same. Just notice that. Just to even things out, we're going to do a forward bend. We're just going to do spinal stretch. We're going to hold the back of the chair. You can have your hands at a wall as well. You're just going to stretch your back nice and long, getting that traction of the spine. My feet are really wide. So if you have a yoga mat, they're almost as wide as the yoga mat, but you could also do hip width. And then in this position, you're going to exhale, bend your knees and lengthen your spine. And you might feel a nice stretch underneath your armpits as well. And then inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. And just notice where you feel this. Some of you will feel this in the upper back and others in the lower back. Now some of you could try with your hands on the seat of the chair and see if you like that better. I actually find this easier because I have more tightness in my upper back. So I'm going to do it with my hands at the back of the chair, but just see which one you like better. And when you're ready, bring your hands to the seat of the chair, hands to the thighs. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, Samastiti. Just notice how you feel. Notice any change in the weighting in your feet. Maybe how your mind feels. Your breath a little more settled. Can you feel your feet on the ground? Okay, so we're going to do another warrior before we move into our twists and warming you up. So again, bringing your heels to the wall, your right heel at the wall, your left foot stepping forward. So this time we're going to try a traction pose in warrior. So you're going to inhale, you're going to bend your front knee, bring your arms forward. You could just use one arm, your right arm, not the left as well. Interlock your fingers if it's comfortable, or just leave them apart. And you're going to exhale, you're going to come forward into a forward bend. So again, you could have blocks, you could have the chair where you bring your hand to. That works better for you. Inhale, coming to warrior one, arms front or sides, your choice. Exhale, release. Let's try that again. Now, when you're coming up, if you feel compression in your lower back when you go into this version of warrior, you can come up and just go again to the traction pose and release. Okay, so that's an alternative if you feel compression in your back when you do the full warrior. Let's try it again. Inhale, that lengthened version of warrior. This gives you a lot of traction in the spine, lengthen the spine. Bending my front knee. Exhale, forward bend, hands blocks or chair or on the floor. Inhale, arms moving in line with the ears, bending that front knee, coming to Virabhadrasana, warrior one. Palms together or apart. And exhale, release. Adjust the arms according to your neck and shoulders, of course. Let's do this 4 times, so 2 more times. Inhale. Lengthen, exhale, forward bend. Inhale, warrior one. Again, this is a power pose. Promotes courage, empowerment, feeling of being resourced. Exhale, release. Last time, inhale. Exhale, forward. Inhale, warrior one. Move the arms in line with the ears, come up, or arms sides as a modification. Exhale, release. And stepping back if you can, and going to the other side. My left heel at the wall, my right foot stepping forward. Again, I could draw the seat of my chair to my shin to use that to come forward with. Inhale, lengthening the spine, bending that front knee. So that nice length from the hands all the way to the back foot. Exhale, forward bend to your place. Inhale, bending the front knee, moving the arms in line with the ears. Warrior one, arms apart or palms together. Exhale, release. 3 more times. Do it in your own timing if you like, or with me. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, starting position. Last time, inhale. Lengthen. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, Virabhadrasana. Exhale, starting position. Bend the front knee, stepping back, finding your samastiti. And notice how you feel. Again, you might be feeling one foot more than the other right now. Just notice that because we've been doing an asymmetric pose. So let's make it symmetric with Uttanasana, forward bend. Feet apart. You can do this again with the chair or blocks. Inhale, arms coming up front, or if you prefer sides, if this doesn't work for you. And exhale, forward bend, coming forward. Bend the knees. This can really help the lower back. Inhale, arms front if it doesn't hurt your lower back, or sides if it's too much weight for your lower back. Exhale, release. So the arms are weights. Feel free to adjust them to comfort. We warmed up one side at a time. We're now doing both. Uttanasana, inhale. Before we did Parshva Uttanasana, one-sided. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, extending nice and far forward as you draw the belly in. So we're going to have a little rounding in the lower back. It's not exactly a hinge from the hips. Inhale, now you're hinging, your back arching, move the arms in line with the ears, coming up. Exhale, release. Keep that going. So I'm just going to remind you of the modifications. I'm going to let someone in. Let's try to get in. Let's keep going. So modification. Again, you can bring the hands to the back of the chair, to the seat of the chair. You can bring the head to the seat of the chair. And you can bring the arms side as you come up to lessen the weight on the back. You can also slide the hands up the legs if still the arms at the side is too much for you. You can get rid of the arms altogether. You can bend the knees. So finding your version. When you're ready, stay in the pose. Whatever version you've picked, just stay in your forward bend. And if you want to add a little movement to try to lengthen your lower back, inhale, sthiti, looking up and feel your lower back lengthen as you arch your spine. Now keep that length. You can even pull your ribs, the front of your ribs forward a bit. Keep that length as you come forward and feel how that lengthens the lower back. You can just stay here or try again. Inhale, looking up, arching the spine, coming quarter of the way or even halfway up. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Keep those ribs forward. Lengthen the lower back. And keep this going or just stay in the pose, Uttanasana. So you can have your hands by the sides. That's what my teachers in Chennai usually do. You can have the hands forward. Hands can be on blocks, chair. You can hold your big toes with your peace fingers. Put your palms underneath your toes. This all changes the effect. I personally like to put my arms behind my calves. And you might be feeling one side of your lower back stretching more than the other, even in this position. When you're ready, come up slowly. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, stay. Inhale the rest of the way up. Exhale, release. And the reason I do that is just to help with the heart rate and blood pressure, just bringing everything slowly back to neutral. It's a big change when your head goes below your heart in terms of physiology. So just notice now, are you feeling both feet evenly, or perhaps you're feeling one leg a bit more, a leg that doesn't tend to work as well as the other. Let's just notice that. Notice how your lower back feels. Maybe you feel a little taller having done that traction work. Okay, so it's time to start moving into twists a little bit. So we're going to start with Trikonasana, Parivriti. We're going to bring our feet apart, create an equilateral triangle perhaps, or just bring your feet apart to comfort. If that image of the triangle works for you, you can try that. So we're just going to start off gently. You can use a chair or blocks to help you have a bit more height, or if you know this pose, you can go right into it. Start with some blocks, make it a little bit, the floor, bring it up to me. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, coming to your left, so I'm mirroring you, and just coming to your place. So adjusting those blocks to comfort. Your left hand on your lower back, just see how it feels to start aligning your shoulders. And where do you want that lower hand? What feels best for your backs? Just notice the difference. When you have your hand more center, it's a little bit more upper back, perhaps, than lower back twist. This is working upper and lower back. Inhale, coming up. So I've picked my distance. And exhale, other side, just finding your place. So you can adjust those blocks. You could use a chair. Have your chair right in front of you and do this. And notice if one side rotates more than the other. And just keep this going. So some of you might go into the full pose with the hand all the way to the outside of the foot. And this one for me really uses the flexibility of my lower back, so it's quite easy for me versus the other ones. The other ones are actually harder because they work my upper back a bit more. So the full version for me is actually easier. But it's nice to do because it's easy, so that's also there. Just keep that going side to side. I'm just going to demo this with the chair so that you know how to do that. This can be really helpful. Oops, sorry about that. I'll show it this way. So you can put a forearm on the chair. I know one of you used to really like this in my in-person classes. So that's your exhale. Inhale, lengthen your spine, and then exhale the other way. And I just felt a big crack in my lower back doing that. This can be very helpful. And you can also have your arm long, and you could come up all the way. And that's more upper back. So pick your medicine according to what you want to work on. And I'm going to go back to the classical pose. Trikonasana Padavritti. Padavritti means to rotate, to twist. If you're comfortable in this pose, you could try a hold after exhale, drawing the belly in and the pelvic floor up and hold. This is extremely detoxifying for mind body. In terms of your head, classically we're looking at the top hand, but it might be better to look straight in front or even down. As you inhale, derotate the head, and then the neck, upper back, middle back, lower back. As you twist, exhale from the pelvic floor up. In twists, we move the head first and last. Inhale. Sorry, we move the head first. That doesn't make sense. We derotate the head first when we come into the twist and out of the twist, if that makes sense. Now I'm going to say that again. We rotate the head last when we go into it. There, that makes sense. And first and last, I was right. And we derotate it first when we come out of the twist. It's a little bit complicated to say, but once you do it, it actually feels quite natural. So you exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, and then rotate the head at the end. And then when you come out of it, this is for safety, you're going to inhale, untwist the head first, and you're breathing from the chest down to the belly. Take a break anytime. And perhaps finishing up. And this is one of my favorite poses also for anxiety, because it just brings you into your body, out of your mind. Your head goes lower than your heart, which is relaxing, and also you're compressing the gut. This is an area of the vagus nerve that perhaps when you're compressing it, it affects how you feel in terms of mind emotions. Letting someone in is having trouble staying in today. So notice how you feel having done that. And then we're just going to do our counter pose. Diane, you're in 2 different screens, so just be aware of that. You might want to get rid of one of them. Okay. All right, so we're going to do a squat. We're going to start easy. Inhale, arms to the side. This is also wonderful for the lower back and hips. Exhale, you're going to squat. I want you to hug that tree. And if you'd like to do a land acknowledgement for the land that you are standing on, you may do that. I'm coming from the original territories, as I've just recently learned, of the Seychelles peoples in Garden Bay, Heather Harbor. Maybe visualize hugging a tree and just acknowledging the beautiful land you're on and the peoples that came before you. Finding that gratitude for the land itself is prior to all of us standing on it, and our indigenous peoples who protected this land for many years before we came, settlers. You can keep that going. If you want to make it harder, you can do a full squat. I need to stand on a block or a pillow to do this. Some of you will be able to do it without. My feet are parallel. I'm inhale coming up. I'm interlocking my fingers and exhale coming down. You could touch a chair as you do this and not go all the way down. Or, oh, I'm feeling my knees today after my skiing. Inhale, arms coming up. This is actually a great pose for preparing for downhill skiing, but after you do it, you'll also really feel your legs. So just be careful for those of you with knee issues. I recommend just doing the Ardha pose halfway down, because this is quite a bit of flexion for the knee joints. Just be really careful. Classically, we leave the arms up the whole time. I like to bring them up and down because it works the upper back as well. So I'm showing that modification, which is a personal preference, but you could leave the arms up the whole time. And then as you inhale, just try to lift a bit more. And again, I have this block under my heels to help me. You might not need that. This is very, very grounding. It also provides some nice traction of the lower back. So this was my very first yoga therapy pose, I think, without knowing even what it was. When I was 23 and I'm doing my master's of teaching in Vermont, I discovered that holding a friend or holding a rail and doing this pose, I could get out of lower back pain. So you can do this with a friend. You can hold a railing to help you. And we're going to finish up coming out of it when you're ready. And hopefully your knees are okay. This is a great one also for constipation of mind body. So if you kind of feel stuck mentally or physically, just help you really let go. Notice your legs and feet. Notice your lower back. All right. So we're just going to do a side bend for those of you who need that for your QL area. We worked on this in our last class, but I'm just going to add this today because I know some of you have this issue, tightness in this part of your lower back. So I'm going to use the wall. We're nice and warm now and just go right into it. So I'm going to cross one foot over the other. So I'm going to cross my outside leg and try to bring my other hand to the wall. And you might want to cross the other leg, inside leg. Actually, that one for me does feel better. I'm remembering. And just stay here, or you can inhale, come up, and exhale, go into it. Okay, it's your choice. And try to align your hips, align your shoulders, and press your hips to the opposite wall or away from you. Nice and warm, so just staying in this pose and breathing, or inhale, come out, and exhale, go into it. I really feel that in my right lower back. For those of you with scoliosis, you have that concavity where I have it. You will probably feel the same thing. And on my other side, I feel on my upper back. So just notice those differences. We're going to do the other side. I'm going to have my back to you for a minute. So crossing whatever foot feels better. So I'm using the same foot as the wall. And exhale. Finding that side stretch, pushing the hip out. Inhale, release. Exhale, moving into it. Or just staying. Notice where you feel it. So to my surprise, I'm feeling it also in my QL area on this side, which I usually don't. So it all depends what you've been doing recently and how your back is doing. Anytime coming out and going back into it. And release. If you had one side that felt a little tighter than the other, I just invite you to redo that side, or you can do both sides even amount of time. So just redo the side where you felt maybe a bit more tightness today. Maybe check it out. I'm deciding that I'm doing my second side again. It's always a surprise when you practice. It's really good to just observe and say, okay, what do I need today? It might not be your usual. Ready, coming out. You might be feeling your lower back quite a bit right now. So let's do a forward bend as a counter. We're going to do it with crossed feet. Bring that twist into the lower back again. So I'm going to put my left, your left behind your right. I'm mirroring you. Inhale, arms side just for a change of pace. And exhale, coming forward, you might bring your hands to a chair. If this hurts your knees particularly, just come halfway, bring your hands to a chair, or just your hands to your thighs. If you can go further forward, you will feel it in the hip of the foot that's back. And inhale, coming up, exhale forward, or if you feel warm enough now, just stay in your forward bend. So your choice on that. I'm just going to stay because I'm feeling warm enough to stay, but you might choose to go up and down. This is pretty intense. This is working with the hips, one side at a time. Twisting the hips. For today, we're focusing on the lower back. It's also, again, getting into that QL area, quadratus lumborum, which tends to get tight. Inhale, coming out, exhale, release. So I was going over the Portman Bridge the other day, for those of you from the lower mainland, and I was looking at those wires holding up the bridge. I know they have a special name, I'm forgetting right now, but the QL is kind of like that. It's holding your spine up with this connective tissue. Your QLs. So they tend to get tight and tired. Inhale, coming up when the lower back or hips are misaligned and when the core is weak. Exhale forward, inhale, coming up. And you can keep that going or stay in your forward bend. And notice the other side of your lower back, hips. The foot that's back, you're probably feeling quite a bit of stretch into that leg, into the hip, and maybe lower back. Careful of the knees. If this is hurting your knees, you can try going halfway down or don't cross the feet. Ready, coming up. And just a final Uttanasana, just up and down as the counter to those twists. Inhale up, exhale forward bend. Let's do an Om. Inhale, just getting everything moving. Another Om. Next one, Om Namo. This means I surrender, I let go. Om Namo. Again, Om Namo. You could say, I let go. Om Namo. Last two, Om Namo Namaha. Again, I surrender to what is. I allow, I accept. Om Namo Namaha. Last time, Om Namo Namaha. Om Namo Namaha. Just stay in your forward bend. It's our last standing pose. Modification. Hands on blocks, hands on the chair, seat of the chair, back of the chair, or you can sit in the chair. This is also strangely actually more traction I find of the lower back when I sit versus stand. So you may consider doing that if you like. It's a little bit more like what we call a seated forward bend, which I don't generally teach in group classes on the floor, but in the chair, Paschimottanasana, stretching of the back body, which we call the west of the body because traditionally we're facing east. Those of you with heart disease, it's also great to do a transition with the chair before you go to lying down. So when you're ready, going to the floor, I'm just going to remove my chair and angle my camera down. You might want to angle your cameras down if you're showing me your video. And you do not have to share your video, of course. Looking good. Okay. All right. Good. I'm just going to make sure my wall is showing because I'm going to use the wall a bit. Okay, I think we're ready to roll. So you might want to lie on a yoga mat or a carpet to make it a bit more comfortable for you. I'm just starting with Sukhasana, which is kind of like Samastiti. Just lying there. Maybe notice how your hips feel, the alignment of your hips. If it's not comfortable for your lower back in this extended position, so it's a bit more like a back arch, you might want to bend your knees. Just notice which one is more comfortable. Sometimes bring my feet quite wide and angle the knees in. That creates a lot of space in the lower back. So pick your medicine. We're just going to start with the hips and move into the lower back with our rotated twists. But before we do that, let's just do a few back arches like we did standing to warm up. And then we'll move again into those Parivriti twists. So I'm starting with my legs straight. You can have them bent. Inhale, arms coming up to your place. And exhale, arms coming down. Now you can move one arm at a time and notice if you have one side of your lower back that hurts more than the other. This can be helpful for creating awareness and strengthening one side at a time. So you could try that if you've got one side of your lower back that hurts, not the other. Really lengthening and strengthening. Notice how your core activates as you do that exhale from the pelvic floor up. You should feel some energy in that pelvic floor transverse abdominis area as you exhale. So as you inhale, your back is arching. As you exhale, it is contracting. Your lower back should be coming to the floor as you exhale. As you inhale, it will tend to move away. If you want to lessen that effect, you bend your knees, and that will really decrease the arch in the lower back. It will increase it in the upper back more. Pick your medicine. Maybe stay in the pose. This is Tadaka Mudra. Maybe interlock your fingers, palms away from you. And then as you exhale, go into that mudra, that seal. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Hold after exhale. Your lower back is on the floor. You've created a little Tadaka pond with your belly. That's the name, Tadaka Mudra. And then inhale, if you can, chest to belly or just expand the belly. Can you add Jalandharabandha, the chin lock at the end of the inhale? And release that lock perhaps, or keep it as you exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. Again, the chin lock's a little harder to hold on the exhale because your chest is down. Just notice your lower back as you do this movement. Release the arms at any time if you're having any pain in your shoulders. Your arms can be at the sides or down. See if you can do one long breath, link those parts together. Or do those kramas, those steps, pelvic floor, pause, lower belly, pause, belly button in, pause, draw everything in and up, pause and hold after exhale. And just one last time. Hold out your exhale. Safe estimate is just half the length of your exhale. You can do the same length as your exhale, and it can be anything in between as well. And just rest for a moment in Sukhasana, the supine resting pose. Vipadapidam, bridge. You might want to do this with a yoga mat under you. It's a little easier. You might want to have a block between the thighs that you press into, that you hug into to create more stability. You could also have a belt around that. And I'm going to demo that. This can be very helpful. This doesn't apply to any of you, but for people watching the video, this might. If you have a history of herniated discs in your lower back, I think this applies to any of you, that you can add that belt. Or if your hips are very unstable, this can just feel really, really good. This is from Mr. Iyengar, K.S. Iyengar, his work. And then we're going to link the vinyasa to it. Just feel all that stability there in your hips. And then when you come up, hopefully your lower back feels very stable. So even if you don't have issues, this might just feel really good. Inhale, coming up, exhale down. We're not going to use the arms in order to keep the focus more on the lower back. Inhale, coming up. Maybe stay in a breath as you exhale, pressing into that block or pillow. Inhale, release a little bit. Maybe feel the belt a bit more and lift a little higher, so you're pressing out. And then exhale, pressing in and coming down. Keep this going, and you can increase the length of the stay by one breath per time if you like. Or just keep to the one breath hold. Every time you inhale, try to lift a little higher. Use those glutes and press into that belt. Exhale, press in towards the block or the pillow. So this is also very strengthening for the hips as well as the lower back. Also great for the knees, for those of you with knee issues, strengthening the muscles around the knees. We're also strengthening the hamstrings. Some of you have hamstring issues. So this strengthens the hamstrings and stretches the quads, those opposite muscles. Your last time, just maybe staying a little longer if you can. And just finishing up when you feel ready, rolling your spine down. Notice where you feel this. It might be in your glutes, your buttocks area. It might be in your hips, and it might be in your lower back. So just notice that all those areas are related to stability of the lower back. We haven't talked too much about the core today. Core is another very important aspect of lower back care, creating a strong core. So we're just going to start off easy. Exhale, bringing the knees to the chest. Inhale, legs to the sky, arms up. Exhale, touching those toes down, hands by the hips. And at the end of the exhale or hold after exhale, draw the knees to the chest. Maybe add the hands at the end if you like, Upanasana. Inhale, Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. Stretching the spine nice and long. Exhale, touching the toes down. The further away from the buttocks, the harder. Do this with one leg at a time. If this is too much, the end of the exhale, draw the knees in. Feel the engagement from the pelvic floor all the way to the belly button, zipping up from the pelvic floor to the belly button. Let's do that one more time. We're going to add on, or you can keep doing this. And release the legs. Keep them bent if you prefer, or stretch them out. Sukhasana, just rest for a moment before we add on. All right, so you can keep that going, or if it's comfortable, you're going to inhale. You're going to bring one arm up. So I'm bringing up my right arm. Exhale, you're going to bend your right knee into the chest. Give it a hug. So this is about stretching. And of course, inhale, bringing that leg up to the sky, arm up. Now this is the core work. Exhale, as you come down, you can leave your arm up or bring it down with you. Can you bring that leg down as you bring the arm down? If this is too much, you can bend the leg and touch the toes down like that. Okay, so that's an option. Let's try the other side. Inhale, extending the left side, left arm up. Exhale, bending the left knee into the chest, stretching one side of the lower back at a time. I'm hugging my knee in. You can hold beneath the knee if this bothers your knee with knee issues. Enjoy that stretch. Inhale, extend the leg up. Now that opposite leg can be bent as well. Forgot to mention that. That can be much easier. Now exhale, can you bring that leg down, stretch it long as you bring your arm down. If this is too much, bend the knee and touch the toes down. I'm going to keep that going. Inhale, right arm coming up, stretching that right side. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in as you draw that right knee towards the chest. Give it a hug. Feel the stretch in the opposite hip. Inhale, right leg up, arm up. If your hamstring is crying right now, just bend that opposite leg. And you can keep it bent or have it straight. Exhale, bringing that leg down. I'm going to show it straight this time. Again, you can bend the knee and resist that movement. Your core is going to work. Inhale, left arm coming up. Exhale, bending the knee into the chest. Inhale, leg up, arm up. Again, that opposite leg can be bent. Exhale, extend long. Again, you can just touch the toes down if it's too much. And release. Hopefully that wasn't too hard. We're going to make it a little harder this time. So we're going to try. Inhale, right arm coming up. Exhale, can you bring your leg straight up? Now, if this is too much, bend the opposite knee. Inhale, extend long. Again, you can bend the knee and touch the toes down. Exhale, release. Let's try that On the other side, inhale, lengthen. This is moving a bit more into Ekapada Urdhva Prasrita Padasana variation. Exhale, this is used for strengthening the core, or what we call the Mula Bandha. Inhale, extend. This is also wonderful for the hips. You're giving some traction for the hips. Exhale, release. Inhale, right arm coming up. Be our last round. Exhale, bringing the leg up. Move from the pelvic floor up to the belly button. Lift the leg using the stomach muscles. Inhale, extend. Exhale, release. Last time, left, inhale. Exhale, leg up, hand down. Inhale. Exhale, bend the knees into the chest. Okay, you can keep that going, or you can move to the next version of this. This is harder. We're going to start with our legs up to the sky. So again, if this is too much, just do the previous one. We're going to inhale, bring the right leg down as the right arm comes up. Now, you could bring it down not as far, or you could bend the leg as a modification as well. Exhale, draw it up. This is the hard work. As you draw it up, using from the pelvic floor to the belly button, you should be shaking. Let's try the other side. Urdhva Prasrita Padasana variations for strengthening the core. That exhale, let that exhale draw your leg up. Your leg should feel nice and heavy, and your stomach muscles are moving your leg. Modification, you can bend the leg and touch the toes down. That's much easier. Or go from the floor up. That again is easier. Just going side to side. Now, if this is feeling too easy for you, you can move into both legs. That's the full pose. If you're new to this, just start about a quarter of the way down. So this is a preparation for Navasana boat pose. For those of you who know that pose, this prepares the stomach muscles to be able to do that. You can stay here for a breath or two. So I actually find that harder than the full pose. The full pose, you go all the way down, which I have to say I like because it gives my hips a break. And then I can really engage my core and come up. Just be careful. This is a lot, okay? So be careful. This is working both directions, up and down. We just prepared for this. For most people, this is going to be too much, so be careful. You can bend the knees at any time and just do it with bent knees. Closer your feet are to your buttocks, the easier. So this is a nice modification. And time it with the breath, of course. This is our preparation for shoulder stand. For those of you who practice shoulder stand, you have to master this and the rotated twist before you're allowed to do shoulder stand. At least in the classical version. And just finishing off, hopefully you're feeling those stomach muscles. Bring your knees to your chest and rest in Apanasana. And your hips might be a little tight after all that, so let's just do a counter for the hips as we move into our rotation now. Inhale, center, exhale, other side. Let's just start with those hips, and then we're going to move into the lower back. Often when we do core work, the hips do start to grip when the core is weak. So if that's happened, it's just an indication that you probably need to work on strengthening your core a bit more. It also can just be a training your body how to engage the core and not grip the hips. Now, when you're ready, perhaps you want to start moving into your lower back a bit more. So I'm going to start with my left over my right. Inhale here and exhale, bringing my knees to the right. And then I feel my lower back, my left lower back. Inhale, center, exhale, other side. And I feel more my hip when I do that one. You might just go to one side, not both. If it hurts your knee, to go to the opposite side. So the leg that's over on top, so mine is left. When I go to the right, that's working my lower back. So you might want to just go right. It's preparing for the full pose that we're going to do in a moment. Jatra Paravriti. And this twist, unlike the standing one, is not twisting the upper back. This is all lower back. However, you're probably feeling a stretch in the shoulders, in the upper back, in that your shoulders, one shoulder is being, forced to stay down there. So that can be a bit of a stretch. Let's switch sides. The upper back is certainly involved. So I've got my right leg on top of the left. When I go towards the left, I can feel my right lower back stretching. Inhale, center, exhale, other side. And now I feel more my hip, my left hip. So again, you might just want to go to the left or do both sides. I have to say, when I was skiing, downhill skiing for 5 days, I was really feeling that QL area that you get into by doing this stretch for the lower back. It really gets into that whole side of the lower back. So I was doing a lot of this, and one day I prepared for my skiing by doing all rotated twists, and I had my best ski day. It was a good reminder how yoga can help prepare for sports. Those of you who are doing lots of activities. We're going to release our legs. You think about your sport and you think about the movements that will help prepare you for it, and you practice your yoga with that intention. So that's just a different way of practicing. When we're ready, we're going to go into the full twist. We're going to bend our legs. We're just going to start off easy. Now, for some of you, you will need props for this. I didn't mention it, what we were just doing, because it's a little more freestyle. But this one is a stay pose. I'm going to show going to the right first so you can see me well. Classically, it would be left first. I'm going to shift my hips left. I'm going to bring my knees to the right. So that's the beginning of the pose. Now, to start this, you might first start by putting something under your head, because you've got a big space between your ear and the floor. So you want to get quite comfortable there. And I'm going to release that for myself. And then you want to see if you can open your arms to the sides. Now, if you can't do that, you probably should use a pillow or even a bolster or a block underneath that lower knee. So for those of you who've done in-person classes with me, you'll know that I'm running around the room right now, throwing props around. You're going to have to figure this out for yourselves. And you're going to open and see, do those shoulders go down? If that left shoulder is still not going down, perhaps put a blanket underneath it to prop it up. It's another thing. You can also put a block between your thighs. For some people, that is going to make the difference. Okay, now, once you have that, whatever version you're doing, I'm going to offer as a modification to stretch the lower leg straight. So I'm stretching my right leg straight and I'm bringing just my left leg across. Again, you can put that block, that bolster. This is harder than what I just showed. It's less supported. You want both shoulders down ideally. So adjust the height of this cross leg until you can bring the shoulder down. Even that block, actually, that works quite well. I haven't tried this one before, but that works quite well. Okay, so just adjust it until you feel that you're getting the right stretch. This does stretch the shoulders a lot as well as the left lower back. Now try to bring that hip down, that left hip, draw it down. So you can imagine me giving you a little traction. You can even use one of your hands to draw that hip down a bit. As you exhale, I'm straightening my bottom leg. You can also have it bent. That might feel better. So this is a bit of a complicated pose. Very, very useful for the lower back. This is our peak pose today. This is what I've been preparing you for. Let's stay here and enjoy it after all that preparation. You can add a hold after exhale. And when you're ready, you can switch sides. If you have one side of your lower back that's tighter than the other, and that is the side we're just on, feel free to stay there a little longer. Do the other side. I'm going to switch my body around just so you can see a bit better. Okay, so start with those knees bent. Bring the knees to the left. Start by finding your alignment of your hips through your spine, the top of your head. So the base of your spine with the top of your spine, and then bring your arms to the side. So already just discovering, do you need a block, a bolster underneath that lower leg, between the legs, and this might be your pose. You might just stay here and the hand on top. Already you're feeling the lower back probably. If you're feeling good, both shoulders on the ground, maybe you've got a blanket underneath that right shoulder. Just bringing that top knee across, going towards your armpit. So higher the better. Again, I've got that alignment from the base of my spine to the top of my head. My lower leg is straight. It can be bent, and you might feel more by bending it. Actually, with my back this morning, I'm feeling more having it bent. So I'm going to do it that way. The final piece, if you're very open in your neck and shoulders, which I am not, you can turn your head to the opposite side. When you do that, make sure the back of your head is towards your left shoulder, that top knee. So again, you've got that alignment, the top of the head to the base of the spine. I'm going to leave my head straight. Now start to breathe. Long exhales. Where do you feel this? Maybe a hold after exhale. Do you feel it in your right lower back? Do you feel it in your hip? You don't need any props. Some of you might want to straighten the leg. That makes the pose a little bit more about the leg. I'm going to keep mine bent. The classical pose is holding those toes. And that's pretty intense. I find it goes more into the lower back by keeping that knee bent. And when you're ready, coming out, notice how you feel. You might feel like you've done a little surgery on your back about now. Let's just stretch out the lower back, knees to chest, Tapaḥ. Welcome to put a small block or pillow under your lower back if that feels better. Inhale, knees away. Exhale, knees towards you. Pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, feather light touch of the fingers, shoulders down. At the end, I'm pulling my knees in to get some more stretch on my lower back. After staying in a pose, it's good to move a bit. The counter pose should be easier than the main pose. After doing that 3 to 4 times, maybe staying in the full pose, hugging the knees to the chest. Alternatively, you could hug one side at a time. This is an Ekapada Apanasana by hugging one side at a time. So just notice which one you prefer. And when you feel complete, perhaps moving into happy baby, holding under your thighs, holding your calves, or holding the outsides of your feet and drawing the lower back to the ground. When you're ready, just resting. Shavasana. Let your feet turn out, or if your back tends to be misaligned because of your hips, you might want to put your feet on the wall and rest there. You can also do legs up the wall if you prefer. We'll be here for about 5 minutes. Inhale Om, exhale Namo, or inhale Let, exhale Go. We're working on the surrender part of empowerment today. After doing your best, lots of tapas, heat, energy, focus. The other side of that is letting go. Most of us have a harder time with the letting go piece. And at some point you start your action again, your Kriya Yoga, thinking about what you want to do. Svādhyāya. Doing your best tapas. And then letting go of the results of your action. Īśvara praṇidhān. Meditate on that concept or watching the breath. Inhale, let, exhale, go. Inhale, Om, exhale, Namo. When you're ready, starting to move your hands and feet. It's going to end here, lying down today. Bring your hands to your belly. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Take your time coming up. Namaste. Namaskaram. Thank you very much.